I am truly, truly honored to welcome in on the stage. Please give a huge round of applause for Jacco van der Kooi.
Dad, hit the road, Jack, and don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more. What you say? Hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more. No more, no more, no more, no more. No more, no more, no more, no more. No more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack, don't you come back no more, no more, no more. Go!
Yes! Oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me. This is coming home for me, okay? Who of you here in the audience is Dutch? Okay, I'm going to switch for a brief second to Dutch. Welkom allemaal, ik ben heel erg blij om thuis weer te zijn. Nog heel leuk om allemaal weer te zien. 1 kroket, 2 frikandellen, sausijzenbroodjes heb ik inmiddels al op en het is allemaal door. Thank you all for having me. What I'm going to talk to you about is about the next generation of growth. And boy, do I have something exciting for you. Something that all of you will feel like, yes, we got something that puts us ahead. But first, I want you to all think, what is all this about? What is all this what we do about? What is it that we do? It's a question I commonly ask. And that question says the following. What we think we do is not necessarily what comes from the US. I'm going to play this clip briefly, and I want you to listen to this, that not too long ago, this scene of a movie, of a TV series called Silicon Valley, actually reflected what happened in real life.
No revenue. I'll call you back. What? Why would you go after revenue?
Because to make money?
No. If you show revenue, people will ask how much, and it will never be enough. The company that was the 100Xer, the 1000Xer becomes the 2X dog. But if you have no revenue, you can say you're pre-revenue. You're a potential pure play. It's not about how much you earn, it's about what you're worth. And who's worth the most? Companies that lose money.
You see the look on his face? Like, that is what we're thinking about, right? Like, my gosh, how much will we lose? And people, so many companies have lost so much money. Is that what it's truly about? I don't think so. I think that it was a phase that we went through. All of you are here are having one mission, whether you like it or not. As soon as you're venture capital driven, your mission is to turn $1 million asset into $1 billion asset. That's your goal in life. You got to turn that. All that journey leads to one function and one function alone, the go-to-market function. That go-to-market function holds the key to turning $1 million asset into $1 billion asset. What I'm going to talk to you about is 3 specific steps that we can take. First, I'm going to talk about GTM efficiency. Second, I'm going to talk about the concept of a factory. And then I'm going to overlay that on a future that we can all embrace, which is a little bit more than just go make a loss of money. That journey leads to the following formula. GTM efficiency. GTM efficiency is simple. How much money am I spending to acquire $1 net new revenue? That's all what it's about, and that can come from acquisition, and that can come from expansion. That's all what I want to know. How much revenue am I bringing in? Based on that formula, what you'll see down here is a form of, now I'm visualizing that. This particular company in Q1, approximately $1.70 was spent. You see that dollar go up? $1.70 was spent on acquiring $1. The next quarter, that got closer to $2.10. The following quarter, it started to irk towards 3, then to 4. And you'll see that this company over the past 5 quarters got less efficient. If we map that to the top 10 public SaaS companies in the world, you get to see this picture. What I've done for you in the left upper corner, that little thing, sometimes a slide is building, that gives you an opportunity to go like, oh, build is complete. What this shows is the successful companies. Now let's take a look at the other companies, because unfortunately, That is not the norm. What we see here is more reflective of the norm. Companies are spending anywhere from $2, $3 to $4 to $5 to $6 to acquire a $1 net revenue. And that is a problem. That is asking myself, maybe the end of the growth at all costs is here.
What you say? Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more.
Ladies and gentlemen, the end of growth at all costs is here. It is done. It is over with. We need to move on to something new. That new, we need to learn from a different area, the area of factories. Now, in order for me to start relate to you what the factory could do for us, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an analogy to what happens in a factory and what happens at the startup and at the scale-up. I'm going to do that along these 4 points. First, I'm going to start with saying, like, folks, what is the goal of a factory? What does a factory do? What is the primary thing they do? Well, 1, produce, produce, produce. 2, cost efficiently. 3, well, since we're shipping all across the world, we probably also need to check quality. 3 things a factory does: growth, efficiency, quality. That maps very well to what we're doing in SaaS. Growth of revenue, we call it scalable. Efficient growth, we call it sustainable. And durable growth, measured in NRR and GRR, we call it durable growth. But the analogy goes on. If I want to build a factory, I'm having, most factories operate on production lines. And you'll see down here 3 common production lines. A very manual process, a semi-automated process, and lastly, a fully automated process. Again, if I align that with what we do in SaaS, you're going to see that it lines up. The automated, the fully manual process, we call that enterprise sales. Salespeople traveling to meet the customer in person. The semi-automated, folks, we're using SalesLoft and Outreach and tools like that to write more automated emails. And then the fully automated. Think of PLG as a fully automated production line. Each of these production lines is based on the basic principles of process, systems, and people. We can also correlate that back to our business. The problem is that many of you who are currently in a startup or in a scale-up, you are actually operating in what we call a people-centric organization compared to a process-centric organization. People-centric means that if things go well, we hire people. And if things don't go well, we blame people. We're constantly thinking in the concept of people, people, people. A process-centric mindset says if something goes wrong, maybe we should inspect the process first. It could be a hiring process, it could be an onboarding process of the people, or it could simply be that the process that we're putting them on is broken. That's the difference. That switch of an organization is called a phase shift. And a phase shift takes about 18 months to make that switch. Now what you'll see here, you see the role of systems. The role of systems is on top of process. And for whatever reason today, we have lost a little bit of that we are finding that process is more important. Recently, I saw this video from Amy Webb at South by Southwest, and she started looking and prompting to figure out, how do I get a picture of a CEO? She didn't say whether it should be a male or female, but she was prompting the AI system, give me a CEO picture. And here's what happened.
This was last year, and I just kept trying over and over and over again to get Midjourney to show me literally any CEO that was just not a white guy that looked like this. And it didn't really work. So, it's been a year. All of us are hearing about all of this progress being made in artificial intelligence, right? It's amazing, all the work that's been done. I thought maybe we should see what's changed. Would you like to do that together? Yeah, I think so too. All right, CEO of a large company and make it photorealistic. I did actually try this prompt over and over and over again. And, got the same guy wearing the same suit. So how about a CEO of a company that makes tampons?
Folks, we're laughing out of misery in a way, right? That is when you put systems and tools before process. Wrong process, you get the wrong result. And we are doing that in our world right now. We are familiar with outbound emails. We're just letting AI write the outbound emails. The emails are going to be equally shitty and they're going to have an equal shitty open rate. It's just not going to make a difference. Yes, maybe for 3 months, but everybody catches up and we're back off to the same race. That is what this shows. We got to think better than that. Logically, what comes after this, if I have steps to the factory, then maybe there's one more thing that a factory does as well. And that what a factory does is called quality management. We see down here a team that in this case is Six Sigma related, and therefore they have black belts and stuff like that. This is a manufacturing site. Software has agile. And folks, you may say, like, yes, but we're creative, we're marketing, and we're creative people. We have design thinking for that. Design thinking is also a process. Every orchestra runs a process. Every dance studio runs a process. It is all a process, and they all have a form of quality management. We don't. We do not. These organizations that I just mentioned have a high success rate. Our success rate today, less than 1%. Less than 1%. I recently had a chat with a CEO, founder of a company, and he just sold his company in June, July for $6 billion. And this is what he said. What you see down here is what he said. His executives didn't know how to operate the business. The point here is not that the executives fault. The point here is that the process is broken. The executives don't know how to operate the business, and we're no longer doing growth at all costs, which we have been doing for the past 15 years, something new needs to happen. That new, they have not been educated on. Today, we see that we, for the first time, start to establish these new standards, start to establish this new certification, and looking forward to that continuous improvement process. The book that I've written about this will help you, will help the users who have already read it. We see later on that standardization will take place. The point that I want to make down this is I believe that within 18 to 24 months, if you're working for a startup that does more than 3 million euros or that has more than 10 million euros in funding, those stakeholders in the company are going to require the operational staff to be certified to do their business. We believe that this is a given, this is about to occur. The same way that financial people have to understand what GAAP compliance is, the same way how legal has to get the bar exam. If you want to be an executive at a company that takes off like a rocket, that turns $1 million asset into $1 billion asset, you got to be certified to do that. That tells us a little bit about a factory. How about if I apply that part of the factory and I now take that and say, can we create a revenue factory? Now, what I'm about to show is parts of revenue architecture, parts of what you demonstrated. What I'm going to do is I'm going to divide that factory, and I'm going to split it out in production lines. I say, it's like, look, the SMB is its own production line, and PLG is its own production line. This all happens in the factory. The factory, I'm going to determine what product is this factory shipping. Now, I want you to pay close attention to this. If I sell an ownership product, the buyer takes on all the risk. If I sell a product like a subscription model or a usage model, the seller takes the risk. The buyer amortizes the $5 million of routers that they bought over 5 years. The seller has to amortize a significant amount of cost over when conversations that are currently not taking place. If you see, if I push you along that, and I trace my finger along that arc, I'm seeing one after another, all the business models occur. Every time I go from the left to the right, something changes. High ACV, long sales, high price, long sales cycle, low price, short sales cycle. And it goes across. There is a relationship between these business models. Most people don't know which business model they're running. They're kind of like lost. This particular video from the founder explains, in short word, what the founder was dealing with, and this founder being Ray McCrock from McDonald's.
You don't seem to realize what business you're in. You're not in the burger business. You're in the real estate business. You don't build an empire off a 1.4% cut of a 15-cent hamburger. You build it by owning the land upon which that burger is cooked. What you ought to be doing is buying up plots of land, then turning around and leasing said plots to franchisees.
That is understanding your business correctly. Do you know what your factory is actually selling? And you heard April talk about that as well. You heard like, hey, I need to know my value prop. That factory, now I know what I'm selling, I'm gonna divide that in different manufacturing production lines, different revenue production lines. And you're very familiar with these production lines. Essentially what I'm doing, I'm aligning the cost of sales from the get-go with the revenue it is generating. I'm doing that here with this particular chart. Vertically, we see amount of deals. Horizontally, we see the price. I'm going to map the three that we just saw in it a second ago, right? I'm going to overlay marketing and sales methodologies. And as you see, as I overlay PLG, low dollar figure, high volume. So what kind of motion do we have? We have a self-serve sales motion. We have an inbound-driven motion in order to generate leads. And we have a community support model. Because if I sell at $100, you can't get a dedicated customer success manager to your account. This shows that if you map that out, that there generally are 5 different go-to-market functions, 5 different factory lines. Now, if I have one of these production lines, you see how I stepped out of the way for you taking the picture? Yeah. Customer-centric. And so what we're now going to do is we're going to hone in on one specific, and I'm going to make sure that we're going to have the right data model on that. Are we measuring it the right way? And what we're seeing that historically, we're not measuring it the right way. Historically, we're falling short. The classic sales and marketing funnel that I've put on its side down here, that's not where recurring revenue takes place. Recurring revenue takes place where the sales and marketing funnel stops. It's where it starts. And so what you'll see here, we extend that with the same level of depth. Recurring revenue takes place on the other side, there where there is recurring impact. Recurring impact is what drives recurring revenue. If you don't like your Netflix TV series, you're gonna sign off. Many of you who have like Disney and like all the other services, you watch a few of the movies of the service and you unsubscribe. But Netflix, you stay. Recurring impact equals recurring revenue. In this particular scene from the movie The Raiders of the Lost Ark, it is Harrison Ford who is able to find where the treasure is hidden. And he does that because he has both sides of the puzzle which are on a medallion. The other party who doesn't have access to that misses it. That's the signal. If you do not treat both sides of the funnel with an equal amount of insight, you are not going to get the gold out of this thing. And you're going to continue to drive continuously growth by needing more leads, closing more deals, paying more salespeople to do that. That is a challenge that eventually becomes unattainable, making it unsustainable. Last up is the growth model. Now, you may think, Jaco, like, how many growth models are there? Actually, there are quite a bit. What we see down here, okay, now I'm getting, what we see down here are the 5 different growth models following a different curve. Most of you, if not all of you, follow what we know as an S-curve. And this S-curve, this particular trajectory, it is quite accurate. It is actually so accurate that you can almost project any company along that trajectory. Can you make business decisions like investment on it? No, that little fluctuation, that could cost you a stock price. But for calculating how many SDRs we need or how many salespeople we need, it is well within the line of accuracy. When we look at that growth, we see that there actually are 3 elements of growth. We have retention, expansion, and acquisition. It starts off with acquisition and it slowly grows. Within 2 to 3 years, retention starts to get bigger than acquisition. And if you progress, sooner or later, expansion starts to get bigger than acquisition. That is 3 different growth motions, not 1. Again, we often do not look at the other 2. That creates, if you lay that out, that creates what you know as the 4 growth stages. First growth stage, startup. make it work. Second, scale what works. Third, make sure that the customer is happy. That means that generally your profitability goes up. And last one, enterprise, you scale that out. If I draw that out, I overlay that. Ladies and gentlemen, I get the 12 most common revenue breakpoints. At Winning by Design, and me personally, I must have helped over 1,000 SaaS companies. Those of you who know me, like the list is long. About 1 out of every 4 or 5 public SaaS companies. The list is long, and the names are everyone, and I mean every single company hits these 12 breakpoints. They either know it or they don't know it, but the most common thing that happens is that while they're in it, they're fighting fire in that specific revenue breakpoint and therefore not preparing for the next revenue breakpoint. They're constantly fighting fires. Well, folks, I want to let you know, I got you covered. This is for you. You can like shortcut. Don't worry. What do you mean don't worry? I mean don't worry about a thing. There was no need for this. This was my favorite clip of all time. This is my only audience I can ever put it in, okay? My home team. Folks, don't worry about these things. When you know them, track and figure out what comes up next. As I draw and come to a close, what I have just shown to you, and what I'm presenting you to down here, that this concept is the future of where we're going. A concept where growth, and when we have people that talk about growth, it is not just some leader on a stage rattling off numbers which they win the lottery with to let you know that's what you need to be doing. There is science behind it. Science that we have learned by learning to take a look at the GTM efficiency rate, the lessons from the factory that we can apply into the news factory. What you see here is a gentleman that goes by the name of Dick Fosbury. And Dick, he won the gold medal at the 1968 Olympics. You probably can already guess why he won it. He was an engineer who realized that the point of gravity of the human body is better and could go higher if he reverse jumps it. He simply jumped over backwards. Since that day occurred, everybody is doing it. It is the normal way of jumping over it. It took an engineering major to figure out how to do this. Obviously, he was a fantastic athlete too, don't get me wrong. Here's my message to you. Do you think that you can win the American game of startups using the American approach and playing along the American rules? I think those odds are stacked against you. What I think is you need to change the game. You need to go out and say, it's like, look, our schools are more process-centric. We are more focused at that. That is what I believe that we're looking at here in front of you. We're looking at an opportunity to this community to generate how they want to move forward according to rules that they establish with things that can be taught in school, so when people come into the company, they actually know what the role is and what they're supposed to play. That is the vision I'm having. That is the hope I'm having for you. As I wrap up to our close, I'm tempted. I am tempted. Andre, am I going to do this?
Do it.
Heck yeah, we're going to do this. Okay. Ladies and... Yeah?
Yeah.
What are you... Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I would love for you to give me a small round one clap. Give me like a golf clap, like one. Number two clap. Number three. 4, 5, 6. Whoa. This is gonna work. Okay, this is, somebody get the camera out, I assume? Okay. Sitting there, they're clapping like, dude. Okay, at number 7, we're gonna start where we left up at number 6, okay? Clap. At number 8, I will signal this, you stand up, you hooter, you holler. At number 9, just give some shit some door. Folks, this is the most joyful moments that we're having. Yes, please, lay everything aside. Number 10, hootering, hollering. Music will kick in, you will feel energy jumping. This is quite okay, okay? Ready? Give me number 7. Number 8. Number 9. Ladies and gentlemen, number 10.
We have the chance to turn the pages on.
High five your neighbor. High five your neighbor. Oh yes.
We can write what we want to write. We gotta make ends meet before we get much older.
Ladies and gentlemen, it was a pleasure and a treat. On behalf of all of us at SaaSiest, on behalf of all the folks at Winning by Design, we love for you to come. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this. Be part of your community. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Down the barrel of a gun.